New York City Banking Commission. I am Jeffrey Shearer, Deputy Commissioner for Treasury and Payment Services for the Department of Finance of the City of New York. I represent the New York City Commissioner of Finance, the Banking Commission. I would like to start by introducing the other members of the Banking Commission. Mayor de Blasio's representative, Deputy Mayor for Operations, Laura Anglin, City Comptroller Strader's representative, Assistant Comptroller for Economic Development, Brian Cook. The purpose of today's meeting, dated May 13, 2020, is for the Banking Commission to vote on its fiscal year 2021 rate and discount rate recommendations for the early and late payment of real estate taxes, and to vote on Banking Development District BDD deposit of $10 million for Popular Bank. The Commission would like to welcome the members of the public who have joined us today via WebEx conference. A recording of these proceedings will also be posted on the Banking Commission webpage of the Department of Finance's website. I will now call the roll. Laura Anglin, Mayor's representative, who is the New York City Deputy Mayor for Operations.
Present.
Brian Cook, Comptroller's representative. He is the Assistant Comptroller for Economic Development.
Present.
And I am Jeffrey Shearer, DOF Commissioner Haas representative, Deputy Commissioner for Treasury and Payment Services. I am present. We have a quorum and we can now conduct the business of the meeting. Acceptance of the May 24th, 2019 Banking Commission meeting minutes. The May 24th, 2019 Banking Commission meeting minutes have been circulated and there were no previous comments. Are there any comments now?
No.
No.
May I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 24th, 2019 Banking Commission meeting?
So moved.
Can someone please second that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Motion carries. The fiscal year 2021 interest rate recommendation. Our next agenda item is the annual recommendation of interest rates for early and late payment of real estate taxes in fiscal year 2021. As required by section 1519A of the New York City Charter and section 11224.1 of the Administrative Code, each year the Banking Commission is responsible for recommending these interest rates to the City Council no later than May 13th. The Banking Commission recommends that the discount rate for the early payment of real estate taxes fiscal year 2021 remain at 50 basis points, 0.5%, which is unchanged from fiscal year 2020. There were a number of factors considered in making this recommendation, including the city's current liquidity, which is stable, prevailing interest rates, which have declined, discount rates offered by several other municipalities, and the estimated administrative savings to the city from processing fewer property tax payments. The recommendation to maintain the current level of discount is due to relatively few taxpayers responding to a decrease in the discount rate, coupled with the need to conserve city tax levy due to actual and projected revenue decreases in 2020 stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on economic activity in New York City. Fiscal year 2021 penalty rate recommendations. The city's current fiscal year 2020 penalty rates for the late payment of property taxes are 7% for properties with assessed values no more than $250,000 and 18% for properties with assessed values greater than $250,000. The Banking Commission recommends the following fiscal year 2021 penalty rates. 3.25% for the late payment of taxes for properties with assessed values no more than $250,000 for the first quarter of fiscal year 21. 5% for the late payment of taxes for properties with assessed values no more than $250,000 for the second, third, and fourth quarters of fiscal year 21. 18% for the late payment of taxes for properties with assessed values greater than $250,000 for fiscal year 21. There were a number of factors considered in making these recommendations, including the city's need to encourage timely payment of property taxes to ensure the provision of vital services, the payment rates charged by other comparable tax collectors across the country, interest rates charged for real estate secured consumer loans, and the falling interest rate environment in 2019, which makes a 225 basis point, 2.25% decrease in the federal funds rate over the last 12 months. The city also needs to be responsive to the economic downturn caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in the first part of fiscal year 21. The Banking Commission also requests that the administration and City Council consider local legislation to reduce the late payment interest rate for properties with assessed values no more than $250,000 in the first quarter of fiscal year 21 to zero for owners who demonstrate hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any questions regarding these interest rate recommendations?
I have a brief statement from the Comptroller.
Okay, please proceed.
The COVID-19 crisis has created an unprecedented situation for millions of New Yorkers by upending their lives and creating vast income instability. As we consider our response, it's critical for the government to use every tool to provide relief. I would like to thank the administration and staff for listening to our concerns and proposing the lowest fiscally responsible rate. Providing a late payment penalty of 3.25% for properties assessed less than $250,000 for the first quarter, the city has agreed to set the rate as low as legally possible for the majority of New Yorkers. Afterwards, the proposal to raise to just 5% is lower than any rate in modern history. Most importantly, as a commission, we are taking the important step to ask the council to change the law and create a new hardship program for those affected by the crisis. The program would reduce late payment penalties to 0% for those experiencing financial hardship due to this crisis. To a person who lost their job, the potential forgiveness of late payments may be the difference between paying back their taxes and facing foreclosure. We as a city and state have prevented many from working for public health, and it is essential that we provide compassionate relief for those impacted. Therefore, I commend the city for recommending the lowest late payment penalty in the city's modern history and implore the city council to pass legislation to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
And if I can also just make just say a few words, I would appreciate it. And thank you, Brian, for that. Our proposal strikes the right balance between delivering immediate relief to those who need it, but also ensuring that our revenue base is secure going forward. The mayor felt very strongly as we went through this with him that he felt we needed to really help those homeowners who are struggling right now because of the pandemic. So thank you for working with us. We feel proud that we're moving this forward and asking City Council to take action to provide a new hardship provision, which we feel will really help those struggling homeowners. So thank you for the controller's support as well.
Thank you, Laura. If there is no further discussion, I will now read the three interest rate resolutions, and we will vote after I have completed each resolution. Resolution number 1, fiscal year 2021 early property tax payment discount rate recommendation. Whereas the decrease in interest rates has caused the city to earn less income than it had previously on property taxes paid early. From July 2019 through March 2020, New York City's quarterly average rates on its investments range from 1.09% to 2.16% in comparison to fiscal year 2019 from 2.16% to 2.53%. And whereas the Banking Commission's impact analysis for fiscal year 2021 demonstrates that this lower return on investment rate resulted in $19.8 million of interest earned on taxes collected early, with a 50 basis point, 0.5% discount. This will offset estimates of foregone tax revenue of $7.4 million, which is the discount given, plus foregone interest income on foregone taxes of $155,000, resulting in a net surplus in revenue to the city of $12.2 million compared to $18 million in fiscal year 2019. And whereas the impact translates to a total positive impact for the city of $13.3 million in fiscal year 2020. This consists of the aforementioned $12 million in net surplus revenue and an additional $1.3 million in administrative cost savings. If the Banking Commission were to increase the discount rate to 100 basis points, 1%, this would reduce net revenue to the city by $10 million. And whereas changes in the discount rate decreased from 100 basis points, 1% in fiscal year 2015 to 50 basis points, 0.5% in fiscal year 2016 through fiscal year 2019 has had little effect on the number of prepaid accounts or the amount of taxes collected early. Therefore, taxpayer behavior appears somewhat inelastic in response to changes in the discount rates. Further, given the inelasticity, cash flow would not materially increase should the discount increase above 50 basis points, 0.5%. Now, therefore, be it resolved. The Banking Commission recommends to the City Council that the discount rate for the early payment of real estate taxes shall remain at 50 basis points, 0.50% per annum for fiscal year 2021. And be it further resolved that the said discount rate is to be offered only for that portion of the real estate tax that is paid before the due date. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So,
Can someone please second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Resolution number 2, late property tax payment interest rate recommendation for properties assessed no more than $250,000. Whereas, pursuant to the New York City Administrative Code, Section 11-224.1, the Banking Commission is required to recommend to the City Council no later than the 13th of May the proposed interest rate to be charged for non-payment of taxes for properties with an assessed value of not more than $250,000 or not more than $250,000 per residential unit for co-ops. And whereas the proposed interest rate shall be at least equal to the prevailing interest rate charged for commercial loans extended to prime borrowers by commercial banks operating in the city, the prime rate. And whereas the Banking Commission notes that as of May 12, 2020, said prime rate stands at 3.25%, as published by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And whereas it is in the city's best interest to encourage the prompt payment of real estate taxes by all taxpayers. And whereas the overall trend in the past year was a falling interest rate environment. There have been 5 incremental decreases in the federal funds rate ranging between 25 basis points, 0.25%, and 100 basis points, 1.0%, in the past 12 months, totaling 225 basis points, 2.25%, by the Open Market Committee of the Federal Reserve Bank. And whereas many property tax owners whose properties are assessed at no more than $250,000 have been adversely affected by economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the lowest interest rate that the Banking Commission can recommend for this category of property owners is the current prime rate of 3.25%. And whereas decreasing the current penalty rate of 7% to 5% for assessed properties valued at no more than $250,000 is consistent with the past year's 225 basis point, 2.25% decrease, and the current Federal Reserve position of holding rates at current levels. And whereas the property tax balance amount delinquent increased from $345.3 million in fiscal year 19 to $419.8 million in fiscal year 20, an increase of 21.6%, or $74.5 million. And whereas the delinquency rate for quarterly accounts, assessed properties under $250,000, increased from 10.43% to 13.02%, or an increase of 24.9%. The city's overall delinquency rate went from 10.17% in fiscal year 19 to 12.66% in fiscal year 20. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Banking Commission recommends to the City Council that the interest rate to be charged for the non-payment of taxes for all properties with an assessed value of not more than $250,000 or not more than $250,000 per residential unit for co-ops be reduced from 7% per annum to 3.25% per annum for the first quarter of tax year 2021 and 5% per annum for the second, third, and fourth quarters of tax year 2021, and be it further resolved. The Banking Commission also requests that the administration and the City Council consider local legislation to reduce the late payment interest rate for properties to zero with assessed values no more than $250,000 in the first quarter of fiscal year 21 for owners who demonstrate hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Can someone please second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Resolution number 3, fiscal year 2021 late property tax payment interest rate recommendations for properties assessed greater than $250,000. Whereas, pursuant to the New York City Administrative Code, Section 11-224.1, the Banking Commission is required to recommend to the City Council no later than the 13th of May the proposed interest rate to be charged for non-payment of taxes for properties with an assessed value of more than $250,000 or more than $250,000 per residential unit for co-ops, or where, irrespective of the assessed value, the parcel consists of vacant or unimproved land. And whereas said provision of the Administrative Code require the Banking Commission to propose a rate at least 6% per annum greater than the prevailing interest rate charged for commercial loans extended to prime borrowers by commercial banks operating in the city, the prime rate. And whereas the Banking Commission notes for the record that as of May 12, 2020, said prime rate stands at 3.25% as published by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And whereas it is in the city's best interest to encourage the prompt payment of real estate taxes by all large taxpayers, and whereas the delinquency rates for semi-annual accounts, assessed properties greater than $250,000, increased 19.3%, going from 7.38% in fiscal year 2019 to 8.80% in fiscal year 2020, which is still a healthy delinquency rate. The Banking Commission does not think that this is attributable to the 18% penalty rate, as that rate has not changed since 1991. In addition, there continues to be a positive impact on New York City revenue when considering interest paid for semi-annual accounts of $30.4 million, offset by the negative $6.4 million of foregone interest the city would have made if the taxes had been paid on time, which resulted in a positive impact of $24 million in net revenue. Now, therefore, be it resolved. The Banking Commission recommends to the City Council that the interest rate to be charged for non-payment of real estate taxes where the assessed value of property is more than $250,000 or more than $250,000 per residential unit for co-ops, or where, irrespective of the assessed value, the parcel consists of vacant or unimproved land, remain at 18% per annum for fiscal year 2021. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Can someone please second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. 4. Popular Banking Development District, BDD deposit. The next agenda item is the request by Popular Bank for a $10 million city BDD deposit at the bank's Brownsville BDD branch located at 1620 Pitkin Avenue in Brooklyn. This is Popular Bank's third BDD branch approved by the New York State Department of Financial Services. At the bank's request, the state of New York recently made a below market rate $10 million BDD deposit at this branch on February 20th, 2020. The Commission recommends that the City of New York make a $10 million deposit at the Popular Bank Brownsville BDD branch. Resolution number 4 on the Popular Bank BDD deposit. Whereas Popular Bank has requested that the City of New York make a $10 million deposit at its Brownsville BDD branch located at 1620 Pitkin Avenue in Brooklyn. Therefore, be it resolved, the Banking Commission approves a $10 million city BDD deposit at the Popular Bank Brownsville BDD branch. May I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Can someone please second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Other business items. Does anyone have any additional items to discuss before we conclude the meeting?
No.
No.
No for me. Having completed the business of this meeting, can someone please make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can someone please second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. This Banking Commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.